Hi, everyone. Welcome again. There's some technology hiccups there. And welcome to my first interview series of former corporate leaders turned entrepreneur. The purpose of this series is to share with you these entrepreneurs' journey, their career transitions, the lessons learned, the success and aspirations, so you can take inspire actions to make the change you want to see in your life and in the world. My first guest today is Susie Chau. And please help me welcome Susie. And hi, Susie. So please tell us, what do you do and who do you serve?
Hi, Mina. Thank you for having me. I am a sabbatical expert, and I serve burnt out professionals that are overwhelmed by their stressful jobs and hectic lives that are looking for a break. And I help them by helping them plan out a month-long sabbatical to travel and get removed from their day-to-day life, get a fresh perspective on what's important to them in life, allowing them to relax and reconnect with their most important aspects for their life.
That sounds wonderful. Talking about sabbatical, I think all of us will need one. Well, ideally, once every 2 years or once a year, that would be so ideal.
Absolutely.
Where do you see people usually like to go?
Oh, in terms of destinations?
Yeah.
I think it's an opportunity if you're going to have a longer time period to travel. I think going to places that are a bit further that you might not be able to get to or see well in just 1 to 2 weeks. So someplace like Australia, New Zealand, Southern Africa, those are all fantastic destinations that you can explore for a longer time period if you have, let's say, a month or more, because it just takes so long to get there. So once you're there, you want to have a bit more time and not feel so rushed.
True. Do you usually lead them? Do you go with them or do you plan it for them?
No, I plan it for them. I have considered doing a group trip. There is nothing formal yet, but I think that it's something that I will consider in the future if there's an ask by my audience. So it's a possibility.
Oh, wonderful. So how did you start this business and where's the idea come from?
Sure. So I started my career as a management consultant. I did that for 13 years. So I myself have personally experienced the stress and pressures and burnout that come with high stress jobs like consulting. So throughout my career, I took 2 month-long sabbaticals and 1 year-long sabbatical, all without quitting my job. And I found the benefits for myself were tremendous. And I wanted to share that with others because I think that there is a lot of, when I talked with people after returning back home from my sabbaticals, they said, oh, that's amazing. I would love to do that. And for most people, that is a possibility, but because it's not so common, people don't think about it. So I think even just me planting the seed that it's possible, I think is extremely powerful just for people to consider that as they think through what might be possible for them, this year, next year, etc.
Mm-hmm. What's the difference between a lot of people when we're back in the corporate world? We're constantly thinking about vacation. Mm-hmm. So for us, vacation is quite possible. We think about it, we plan about it every year or even a weekend trip. What's the difference between sabbatical and vacations?
I think that aside from the obvious time duration, a sabbatical would be longer. And I consider sabbaticals as something that is a month or longer. And I think the key difference between a vacation, which would just be for 1 to 2 weeks, maybe 3, if you're lucky, depending on how much paid time off your company might offer. The big difference between a shorter trip and a sabbatical is aside from the duration, is really the benefits that you can receive. So in looking at multiple scientific research projects, studies have shown that taking a sabbatical, specifically a sabbatical where you travel, has been shown to reduce stress and increase well-being, which you would imagine that's pretty common sense. Mm-hmm. But the more interesting thing is that they've shown that people who take sabbaticals have increased levels of creativity and problem-solving skills. So that actually benefits the people who are returning back to work, and their performance increases. It doesn't decrease by them being away for a month. And even organizationally, there's benefits too. So although it might take some work to find somebody that would be able to fill your role as you're out for a month, so it's a bit longer than just backfilling somebody for a week, but there's an opportunity for the person who does backfill you to grow their skills and to stretch themselves. And that is only going to benefit the organization by more people knowing how to do your job. And that can also elevate you and your status and experiences at the company, because if you can teach somebody to do your job and do it well, then that usually means that you're ready for that next level.
Wonderful. So you switched from your corporate career to running your own business. Could you take me through your thought process? How did you make that decision and make the choice to do the switch?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea to start, and I get to back up. So I covered already that I was a management consultant for 13 years. I took some sabbaticals. After my year-long sabbatical, I did return back to my consulting job, but I knew with that experience that I needed to be able to use that and help other people explore the world. And it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. And I knew also that I wasn't fulfilled on a deep level by my consulting work. I enjoyed it. I was very good at it. But I knew at the end of the day, it wasn't something that I was, hop out of bed excited about. I did it. It paid me well. It was great. But, I knew by taking that one leap of taking the year off, that was a big change for me, because up until that point, I was your straight A student, living life, as you're supposed to, or as you should. You get the good job, and then you do that, and there's a way of life, these expectations that society has. And by taking that one, little side path into taking a sabbatical, that showed me and gave me the confidence that I could do that again. I took the time off. I loved that experience. And I knew that if I wanted to start my own business, that I could do that. And I was skilled enough to do that. I had the background and the support to be able to execute on that, because I know in my heart and in my gut that I wanted to do something that was more deeply fulfilling to me than my consulting job and I consulted a bunch of different industries, but none of them really stuck with me. So I knew that I could take those skills and apply them to something that I was passionate about.
Well, congratulations. We are both doing something we are passionate about. Yeah, the idea is it's not easy. While we were at it, like even for myself, I actually didn't like my career from day one, but I stuck to it for many years. The higher we go, the more difficult to change.
Right.
So that's how our society conditioned us to do the things we're supposed to do, but then we're just cruising along, hoping magic will happen one day without taking any effort.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, that's great. That's great to, I guess, give people a little bit taste of what they said like to step out and then to leave that without the fear, because when people are going higher up, there's also the politics, the worry if they left that someone will take their job and then they will become no one.
Yes.
So that's some a good step to test how far they can go.
Absolutely.
So did you experience any resistance when you switch?
Yeah, so I switched, and it was more of a gradual change and transition from my consulting job to my travel business. I started it completely as a side hustle for about a year and a half, and then I moved to part-time in my consulting job, part-time in my business. I did that for about 9 months, and then I've been full-time with my business for the last year. So that helped in terms of minimizing the resistance. But I think the biggest challenges that I had in moving from a corporate environment to being an entrepreneur was that I was moving from structure and a very social and supportive community to very unstructured and kind of isolated, because I was, a solopreneur doing this all on my own. And I missed, of course, the small talk, but where I really thrive is sharing ideas, brainstorming, refining ideas with other people. And I realized I didn't have somebody to fill that gap. And then I also had to transition, and there was some resistance or just challenges in moving from this structured environment and the mindset of taking orders. And I was very good at doing that. Somebody told me to do a job, I did that job and I did it well. But moving from that environment and mindset to being the true visionary, setting the strategies, executing on those, that was something, it was a learning process for sure.
Wonderful. So what would you say is your number one trait for your success?
Number one, I'm sorry?
Trait, your number one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would say persistence. And persistence, I kept going even when I felt defeated or things were going wrong or not as well as I had hoped. I think most people give up at that point when it's just too hard and they don't think that they're cut out for it. But the real magic is when you push through those hard times, because then you can go to the other side where there are great things. And the number one thing that I learned is that you just have to keep at it, keep trying things, looking at things as an experiment and just seeing what works. Not everything's going to work, but at least you tried and you learned those lessons. But I think people are just too quick to call something a failure and then walk away, when if they just kept going with that idea, then maybe it could have worked. And maybe, if they just tried one more thing, that could have been what led to the success. But if you walk away, then you never know. And so for me, just really keeping at it is really the secret. I mean, and it's not for sure a talent by any means. It's just something anybody can do. But I think it comes down to believing in yourself and knowing if you're truly passionate about making something happen and you're aligned with that vision, then you will make it happen for sure. But that some of these things just take time.
Yes. Unlike what we learn from social media, everything we heard about now is like overnight success. So
yeah, and it's not.
Yes.
Very, very, very rarely is it a true overnight success.
Well, even for example, YouTube sensations, it took them years to get that one viral video hit. Right. Maybe Absolutely. Like even hitting 1 billion audience or views, but then if they're not consistently going at it, you never hear from them again. So it's never that one night or never that one thing. And so there we are to share people, what's the more realistic way to look at it in one point, in one side, and also how to dream big on the other side to set the vision and keep at it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So what do you like the most about your life now that you're your own boss, you call your own time?
Yeah, so of course those things, those are wonderful, just the freedom to set your own schedule. But I think the biggest thing, the biggest shift and thing that I enjoy the most is feeling fulfilled by my purpose and who I'm serving, and knowing that what the actions that I'm taking have an impact on people and their lives in a much more real way than what I had experienced in my corporate job, which, yes, those changed lives, but very indirectly. I would work on something and it would help the corporation, which then would maybe help their customers' lives, for example, but that's so far removed. Whereas when I'm working with somebody, one-on-one or in a group setting, I can see the wheels turning and them seeing the possibilities for them in their life. And that is just what fuels me.
That's wonderful. A lot of us, myself included, when I was in my corporate job, I made tons of money for the company. I kept saying that I'm working for them for free. But the impact I make is like enrich only a few people, myself included, which was nice. But then at the same time, I see people are miserable. We're also during certain times we're laying off people. So it was hard on me. And so many people, even the executive, for some reason came to me to complain, and I really want to help them, but I didn't know how to help them or myself. Until years later, now that I know there's so many of us out there who are helping people. So there we are in a good place, finally. And so could you share with our audience your top 3 lessons? You already shared a whole bunch. If you can share another top 3 lessons you learned through your journey, and what's the common mistakes you make or you see people make that they can make their transition or building their businesses much faster?
So the first lesson that I've learned is to follow your gut always. And that is something I didn't always do. But I quickly found that when I didn't, I knew immediately, like, should have listened to that gut. That was just not a good fit. And so I think that it's really important to listen to your gut in terms of decision making, but also, especially considering your audience, a lot of them may be thinking about moving from corporate life to becoming an entrepreneur. And I think the biggest thing for me was that I had, kind of this story playing in my head, like, you really have these skills, you could serve these people with the experiences that you've had, and you don't want to let that go to waste. But it's very easy to just push that aside and say, no, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not the right person to help these people. But that leads me to my second lesson, which is focusing on the service of others. It's not about you at all. It's about the other people that you can help. And by thinking about who you can serve, who you can help, and the impact that you can have on their lives, that just reframes the whole situation, and I think it becomes a lot more powerful. So instead of you just saying and focusing on your abilities, you can truly think about, like, okay, well, who, by me not choosing to serve them, what does that, what impact, I mean, they're obviously not being helped in the way that you could help them. So really thinking about who you can help is way more powerful than internalizing and thinking about yourself only. And then the third lesson is there's more good people in the world than bad people. And that's something that I've learned through traveling. And that's a lesson that I take not only when traveling, but also in business. Obviously, you can't be naive and trust everyone immediately, but I do think that people want to help and be okay accepting that help. You can't do it on your own, especially when you're starting out. You know, you're going to want to do everything yourself, but leaning on other people who have different experiences and expertise is only going to help you. I'm going to close my blinds here. I'm getting crazy shadows. The sun is like setting.
It looks great on you, by the way. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you for sharing those 3 big tips. Like, always trust your intuition. That's so true. Recently, I had an incident. I didn't trust my intuition, and of course, I've never had an incident that I trust and regret. I always regret I didn't trust. So that's a great big learning for all of us. And also, yeah, you're right. There's more great people out there. Although hearing from the news, being in the corporate world, everyone's like putting on a different persona because they're thinking about going up the corporate ladder. Everyone's thinking about bottom line. And then not so much about serving people on purpose. So there's a different environment. Everyone's thinking about competition. So coming out from the corporate world to be in the entrepreneur world, I also realized, wow, there's so many great people. And of course, when you travel, people are so warm and so open and so welcoming. And you don't see anyone thinking you're different and they don't trust you. So yeah, that's all the great things. So what's the outcome you will want for your own customers when you are bringing them or helping them with their sabbaticals?
Sure. At the surface level, I just want them to take a sabbatical. Whatever they choose, however they choose to use that time. I think the important thing for me is that they take that month or however long off work and they invest that in themselves. But I think a level deeper, the real outcome that I want is, because I know that if you take that time, there's tremendous power that could be possible. And I want those people to use that time wisely. And ideally, that could be something that could be a life-changing experience for them. Because when you are removed from your routines in a new environment, that changes your mindset, that allows people to just take a step back, reassess what's important in life, you know, whether that's relationships or their life goals. You know, you can really think about the big picture when you're giving yourself that space to just think and dream and wander and not be super structured. And I hope, and my ultimate outcome that I would want for my clients would be that they not only take that sabbatical, but they use it in a way that's a very powerful driving force in their life. And they take whatever they learn or realize in that sabbatical and make real changes for the rest of their life.
Wow, it sounds amazing. If I were still in the corporate world, I'll probably sign up by now.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, I never thought about that concept. The only thing I remember at that time was about vacation or shopping. When we have big bonus, we go shopping, we go vacation, but the vacations when you come back from vacation, you're more busy.
Yeah.
And more stressed out. So you need to take another vacation for your vacation.
Right.
So, oh, wonderful. And what now? Your life is so different. And what keep you going every day?
Really, what I just discussed. So knowing that I have the power to be that catalyst for change in somebody else's life is extremely motivating. And that is something that I can, wake up excited every day to do the work and to help those people, because it's so aligned with what I want for them. The more people who are really taking the time to design their life in a way that fits them, not just following what society says you should do, but if you take one leap, one even baby step, you could say, in changing your life, there can be huge domino effects, not only on them, but also their loved ones. If they see one person making a big change, then we'll start turning in their network of people as well. And I think that has a tremendous domino effect that could be possible. And, I know that it just takes, a few dominoes, and you can really expand that impact very, very quickly.
It's so true. It's always about one step. One step ahead. Sometimes we do need to jump. But if we can take smaller steps and recondition ourselves to think differently, to go in a different direction, or even open up to options, that will be a lot more beneficial than just living our life on autopilot.
Exactly.
Or living our life by the design of other people.
Right.
Yeah. So what's your vision for your business and for the world?
Sure. That's a great question. I think for my business, my core belief is that the more people that travel, especially outside of their comfort zones, and interact with other cultures, that opens up their minds and creates more compassion, or it just creates a more compassionate and understanding world to know how other places operate. And my goal, aside, regardless of if you take a sabbatical or not, I would love that, but I want people to travel more and travel specifically outside of their comfort zones and stretch themselves so they can have a greater understanding of the world and themselves, because the more you step outside of your comfort zone when traveling, you can squash your own fears and gain confidence in yourself and what you're capable of. And one step further, another goal that I have I think it's essentially a platform that I'm creating to promote the idea and the benefits of a sabbatical. It's not super common, especially in the US, to offer sabbatical programs. There are lots of companies who do offer them to their employees, but just the concept of extended time off is not something that I think is being considered too strongly. And I would love to make that more common in the US, because I think there's huge benefits. We're becoming more and more stressed and overwhelmed, and the constant being on 24/7, getting emails in the middle of the night, and having expectations to respond to that. That's helping no one. And it's just perpetuating the cycle, and it's just not sustainable. And I think that that's a real problem, and it's hurting, obviously creating health issues, both mental and just physical health issues, because of that stress and anxiety. And I think that by taking the time off, again, more than a week or two, obviously take as much time as you can get. But I'm specifically promoting a month or longer, because I think, like I said, towards the beginning of the call, the more time and space you give yourself to just be, that is where those magical things just start to go in your brain, and you have the space to think about and reevaluate what you want in life.
Wonderful. Yeah, wow. I'm sure so many people will benefit from your programs. And yeah, me too. I will wish many people travel, because travel makes the world smaller. Instead of seeing we versus them, we are all just in one planet.
Yeah.
We share the same water and air. So
Exactly.
polluting someone else, or yeah, it's just like we all share the same resources. So it's funny how humans think very limited to their own world and not seeing a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Tell our audience if they want to learn more about you and your program, what do you offer, and where can they find you?
Great. Yeah. So they can find me. My company name is Carpe Diem Traveler, like seize the day, Carpe Diem. And I am Carpe Diem Traveler on Facebook and Instagram. Those are my two most active social media platforms. So you can go there. The handle is just Carpe Diem Traveler with one L. And I've got, on both of those platforms, I've got links, because this is very good timing. If you are on live today or watching the replay before this upcoming Sunday and Monday, so the 24th and 25th, I'm offering free live workshops that step you through how to take a month-long sabbatical without quitting your job or breaking the bank. So I've got links to register for that on both Facebook and Instagram. So highly recommend. That would be an excellent place to start. Or just follow me. I talk all about sabbaticals and tips and tricks for traveling. And I think that talking about specifically the program itself, which I will be launching through that event on Sunday and Monday, is it's going to be a 30-day program where you plan out your sabbatical in 30 days. So your month-long sabbatical, plan it out in 30 days. I step you through everything. So it's a full step-by-step roadmap of planning out how to get the time off, how to budget, where to go, what to do, all of the travel related items, and then all of the other things that you need to do to prepare and to pack and just get ready to go. Then I've got some bonus modules in there for when you're on the road, as well as returning home. So it's a full system. It's got you covered beginning to end, and just making something that I think a lot of people are a bit overwhelmed by, in terms of how on earth would I plan a whole month? You know, maybe they've planned a week or two vacation, but planning a month is a different beast. So since I've done it a couple times, month long and then 1 year long, I know the drill. I've done it myself. I'm here to support you. And that program does come with a supportive community as well. So you can talk to other people who are going through the same thing that you are. Because I think that in doing something like taking a sabbatical that isn't super common in the US, it's really, really helpful to know that other people are there with you, even if they're not physically in the same location or at the same company. They're going through the same thing, and you can ask questions, obviously myself and other community members. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, wow. That sounds so wonderful. I'm sure so many people should take the opportunity to just jump at it, at least that get them out of their regular routine things, to change the habit a little bit, start to thinking about living life by design, as we all try to promote it. And at least, if nothing else works, at least we're a little bit happier, a little bit more, get some fresh air from our day-to-day jobs. So it's all good.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining this interview the first time. It's funny. when you're talking, I really want to do it myself.
You can. So I actually was thinking about how to translate this a bit to entrepreneurs. So I think specifically for your audience, since a lot of people who are going to be working with you are looking to transition from corporate to being an entrepreneur. I obviously have the how to take a sabbatical from a corporate standpoint covered. I've done that myself multiple times. But the power of being an entrepreneur is you can design your business in a way where you could potentially step away from that business for a month. It's not easy, but it is possible. And it might not happen right away, but it's something to work towards. So I think that it's feasible on either end, either corporate or being an entrepreneur. It's just approached differently.
For me, I think it's the idea. I like the idea, but then I also get super excited about my business and serving my clients. Not that big, because I don't see it as work. So even when I'm on vacation, I can't stop thinking about my business or my clients and the challenges. I see it as opportunity. I see it as a platform for creativity. So at the same time, I also like traveling. So perhaps one day I'll see how I can bring those two together. And
well, you can absolutely do that. I mean, anywhere there's internet, you can be working. That's the power of a digital business. So you could work from wherever, which is a wonderful opportunity that I think a lot of entrepreneurs, if they aren't location based and they have more digital businesses, they have the power to work from around the world and be, a digital nomad or servicing their clients from everywhere. The only main factor is just making sure you've picking a place with good internet, because countries are not created equal in terms of bandwidth. So that's okay. But work around that.
Yes. I remember even in Hong Kong, I stay at Hyatt. Usually I don't like to stay in hotel, but in Hong Kong, I have specific reason to stay in one location. Even at Hyatt, the internet is just...
it's not great.
So it's kind of frustrating. And those are the reason that I haven't been doing as much traveling as I hope to. I used to do more. I did non-traveling when I was in university. And I also went to Aspen for 1 week just for skiing by myself, right in the middle of busy season. So those are possible.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the success. I'm happy to talk to you. And perhaps you can all come together to have our own gather together one day.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, and then have some drink, have some wine, and maybe have a few days of hour and hour just to talk about business and how do we move the work forward. That will be so wonderful.
I love it.
And thank you for today. And so wish you all the success. And
you as well.
Oh, thank you. So let's keep in contact and let me know how you go. I will see you in our community, probably on a weekly basis, if not on a daily basis. And I wish you all the success. And I'm sure I'll chat back with you from time to time. I have so many people that at a boiling point now. They almost at a point that they are paralyzed. They don't know what to do. They're not ready to step out. So I'll send them to you as well.
Yes. If you are on that verge or past the point of burnout, you need time off.
Yeah, exactly.
You just take some time away.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So thank you very much today. And until next time, all the best.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye.